Hello, everyone. I am Anant, and we are back with another episode of Analyze with Anant. On popular demand, we have with us three engineers. All of them have an experience in the range of 2 to 4 years. This happens to be one of the most common profiles, if I were to use that word, for an MBA school, for an MBA graduate. So I'll let Kuldeep, Shringya, and Ankit introduce themselves, and then we'll take this session forward. Starting with you, Kuldeep, can you please introduce yourselves to our viewers?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Anand, for this amazing opportunity to come up in your series of videos. First of all, I come from Rajkot, Gujarat. I did my schooling from Rajkot itself. After that, I had my BTech in electrical engineering from NIT Surat. Post that, I worked for Reliance Industries Limited for about 4 years. And after that, I am currently pursuing my master's in MBA at IIM Bangalore.
Right. Thanks for joining us, Kuldeep. Over to you, Shringya. Can you please introduce yourselves?
So, hi Anant. First of all, thanks for having all of us here. My name is Shringya and I am from Ajmer, Rajasthan. I have done my majority of schooling from there itself. Post that, I completed my BTech in electrical engineering from NIT Surat in 2019. I have a work experience of 2 years with Vedanta Resources in its two subsidiaries, steel plant and in mining industry before joining MBA. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Shringya. Ankit, how about you?
Oh, thanks, Anant. And thanks for giving us a chance to come on your channel. So, yeah, I am a computer engineer by profession, and I have completed my engineering in 2018 in from MIT Pune. And after that, I was working for 3 years with Persistent Systems as cloud applications designer and developer. And now I'm here doing an MBA at IIM Bangalore. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Ankit. Ankit, I'll also pose one more question to you. What led you to pursue engineering in the first place? And when did you make this decision?
So to tell you the truth, I never wanted to pursue engineering while I was in my class 6, 7, 8, 9. I wanted to go into medical. Most of my family is into medical, and I also wanted to go that path itself. But in class from class 8, I got introduced to computers and was very much interested in that. And also, again, one more thing that we consider to be a part of when we make a decision while we want to go for a medical or engineering kind of a decision. Me being a science student, always wanted to get into science, but yeah, making this decision was crucial. I liked maths, so that also helped. And then the thing what happened was I wanted to pursue computer science much more in depth and detail. So then that journey began from class 11th and 12th to get into an engineering college and then move ahead in computer engineering itself.
Right. Thanks, Ankit. Shringya, when did you make up your mind that engineering was the thing you wanted to do?
So Anant, I belong to family of engineers, and if I contemplate to that day when my dad returned from office, he took me in his lap and started explaining me stuff about engineering and IITs. I was in seventh standard back then, and I became passionate about engineering and IITs from that day onwards. So basically, it was from that day when I decided that this is something which I want to pursue, and especially my dad is an electrical engineer, and he started telling the concepts of electrical engineering to me when I was in sixth standard, I believe. So that was something I was very passionate about, and I thoroughly had this in my mind till end of my BTech. So yes, that's how I decided to become an engineer.
Right. Thanks for sharing that, Shringya. Kuldeep.
So if I collect some memories, what I had in school times, so I was let me tell you something. I was surrounded by a lot of businessmen. So most of my families are in business. Rajkot, my place, is entirely a manufacturing sector. So we found like a lot of machineries and all sort of things. Like people are involved much in that, rather than medicine, rather than computer science. What Shingya Ankit mentioned. Uh, so what I feel is that might be a spark. What made me believe that engineering is some base for me at least to get up upon that and build up something on that. So this is the reason why I chose engineering, and I wanted to pursue like till last year, till 2 years back, I wanted to pursue something in life on the technical side. And maybe after that, I had some lot of things happening around, and that changed my mind. But the base of the engineering was the area I was surrounded with.
Right. And actually, Kuldeep, your answer leads me to another question. So you've been trained technically as an engineer. You worked on the same domain at Reliance as well, and then you've come to a management program. When did the idea of management education cross your mind, and how did you make up your decision that MBA was the thing for you to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Anand. Because so I gave a lot of thought on this actually, because as I mentioned in my previous answer, that I was surrounded by and I was fascinated with engineering, and going to the management side, will I lose a touch, or like will I miss something out of it? So one thing, so I did not leave engineering and come to management. So that is something I want to mention, that you don't leave anything back. You carry everything ahead. So I was not leaving anything, and when I choose this. Second thing, what I found, like after 4 years of working, I had a very great hold on my team on the technical ground. Like any sort of problem, night 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whenever you call me up, I was able to solve it in minutes. But the thing which was lacking is the the capability. What I had is like I wanted to gain something more like on the administrative side, and that would that would take a lot of time if I go ahead in a normal ladder, which would which a general option is like you gain experience, you go ahead in the ladder, and like be in a role where you take administrative controls and the powers what you have. So maybe this was a reason that I want to leap ahead fast. Second thing, I had that capabilities and confidence in me that I am capable to lead a lot, like a bigger team than what I had that time. So this were the basic reasons to do an MBA. And basically like big conglomerate like Reliance, I was very fascinated by the business acumen what our chairman had, and wanted to know some nuances like how he is able to take this big decisions in very few days. Because I know some like there were very few decisions which took much time. So big decisions, few days, there may be something going on behind. So this was what I wanted to learn, and here I landed up.
Right. Makes sense, Kuldeep. And Shingya, if I were to put up this question to you as how you made up your mind about an MBA, how would you respond?
So yes, I agree to Kuldeep that when you start pursuing MBA, you don't leave anything behind. Basically, you carry that with you. And it was during my first stint at an integrated steel plant where I was working as an engineer that my reporting manager took me to a Mancom meeting. And there, when I observed senior management and the decision making powers they had, the impact they were making at an organizational level, that is where I had this interest in pursuing MBA. Because when I walked through the profile of the senior management, I saw that there was one thing in common, that all of them had done their MBAs. And then, after a bit of more research and talking to all those people, I realized that this is something which I want to do. Because this is going to give you a multidimensional perspective to approach a problem statement. And that is something which I was looking forward to. So that's the place where the idea of MBA, doing an MBA, crossed my mind. And I started preparing for MBA after a few days post that event.
Right. Thanks for sharing that, Shingya. And Ankit, if you could shed some light on your story.
So I never wanted to do an MBA while I was doing my engineering. Most of my batch, around 60 to 70% of people are doing MS, and people from computer field usually try and go for MS. It pays a lot. So yeah, I did not want to do an MBA initially, but when I joined Persistent, for me it was a very gradual process. So there I was interested with the responsibility at a very young age of handling the complete product. Like people did not believe in that product. That was the reason why it was I was we were able to handle it at that young age. And the brief that was given to us was also that if this clicks, we'll take it to market. If it does not click, it's a product that we actually tried and then left off. But then that product clicked, and we were able to like make it as the main offering for the company that we were working for. And then while that product was being made, a lot of business decisions were taken. And I like in 2 3 years which I worked on that product, I got a good amount of technical knowledge and was able to apply all of them. But while people discussed business decisions as to how this should be priced, do we is this a feature that we are trying to implement, is this necessary, not necessary? And they usually had a very holistic view of what will happen if we present this product this way. And that fascinated me a lot. And also my managers also backed me that you should learn this because you are doing very well with the technical aspect of it. And rather than getting into more technical details of the products and stuff, maybe you need to explore this side and you can learn much more and you can contribute much more. And that was the main reason why I came back to an MBA, keeping in mind that I don't want to leave tech. That's it, I guess.
On a lighter note, if Ankit shares with us what he's not going to do next, we'll have a fair idea of where he's going to land up in the next couple of years. But yeah, Ankit, so once you made up your mind as to your decision of pursuing management education, how did you prepare for it? I mean, there are various steps that have brought us all here. So first of all, there was CAT, then there were interviews. If you could just count us through the steps you took in that journey.
Yeah. So when I initially started, I was working with Persistent, and usually people working don't have a lot of time. And I thought that I would require professional help. So I started a weekend coaching, and this was pre-COVID. So like I started my coaching somewhere in February. Then COVID happened. I came back home. I was not studying anything there, and the only thing that helped me was the course material that they had given. I came back home. We have around, like, once we are home, people in the office also are like, you will be online for 12 hours. So, but you don't have work for 12 hours, right? So you get to have that 3 4 hours and 2 3 hours in the beginning, and then you can increase that time. So I use that material which I got from the institute and got some more books, and using some online material and stuff, I started practicing. I'll give a good like quant being something which engineers usually have a good hand on, that helped. VARC, I can say that I'll give full credit to my school. So they prepared me very well with whatever understanding I have with VARC. And DILR, I'll not share my percentile there. I don't want to like get people motivated and demotivated with whatever that percentile is. So yeah, and after that, once this was done, majorly for preparation of interviews, it was more on knowing the personality the best. I had a basic professional help from the institute. They had 1 or 2 interviews with me. They just gave me an outline as to how do you structure your answers and stuff. But then majorly it happened with a lot of peers. I asked a lot of my peers to just sit with me, ask me some questions about myself, and I would answer them. And a lot of times what we did was that we tried to do all of these interviews online and record it. And that record, once you go through that recording, you yourself will notice around 10 things that you can improve in the next interview. So it can be anything, right from your facial expression while you answer a question, to your intonation, to your like knowledge bit that you missed out. And it can be anything, and that helped me a lot. So yeah.
Right, right. Thanks, Ankit. And Shrinya, how did you go about preparing for the CAT and the interview phase? Because I understand you were at an industrial site at a mining location. So, how was your journey?
So if I contemplate to the 3 years back, I remember that when I used to ask my colleagues at in college, like what they were pursuing. So the idea of why they were pursuing an MBA, I was never agreed to that, because I found that people were full of cupidity back then, and honestly, they could never crack this exam. I was very passionate about technical stuff at my college, so I was into GATE preparation, and I prepared for GATE, and I fairly did well in that. Post that, in my first stint at ESL, as I had discussed before, that I decided that I'll pursue MBA. Post that, because I was working in testing location and testing domains, we've had no like these coaching institutes, and so this was not possible for me to go for coaching institutes. So I decided to prepare on my own. Being an engineer, I believe that we had this strength of having strong quantitative aptitude. I prepared for LRDI extensively for a month using free materials available online. And I have a friend, Mohit. So he also prepared for CAT in matter of just 3 months and had got like extremely good percentile. So he had collated those free materials, those free resources. So he extended those to me, and was there to solve my doubts and build up my fundamentals. So I was very clear with my fundamentals. The most important thing where I paid attention while preparing for CAT was previous year CAT question papers. So I remember that I used to solve them again and again, because I was clear with the fundamentals, and at the same time, I knew that this is what this exam is going to take. So I was not solving those questions which are available through the coaching institutes, and which were really very difficult to like crack. And that is of no use, because basically that sort of questions are not asked in exams as well. So that's how I prepared for the CAT, and got good percentile. So the day I got my percentile, I was fairly confident that I'll crack one or the another good B school. Uh, I fairly got calls from almost all the IIMs except IIM Ahmedabad, and I converted all the calls. Uh, Converted all the calls. So basically, if I tell about my interview experience, I was in the planning side of mining. So I was very well clear with the role in which I was working. So I had this clarity in my mind that maximum, if they ask me anything about my work role or my organization, I'll be fairly able to answer them. At the same time, I prepared well with the current affairs. So other than that, I believe that since my childhood, we used to discuss a lot many technicalities and what's happening around the world. So I was pretty well with that. So I was able to answer the questions fairly well, and I made sure that I maintain a calm and composure while giving answers in the interview. Even if it was a pressure interview, I did well in that. So that was basically how I prepared for CAT, and how I gave my interviews. And also because of these testing location domains, we didn't had like we were in our offices. We had this 12 to 13 hours of job. So yes, so that's how it was challenging. But at the same time, it was a nice experience.
Great to know that, Shringya. And actually, I'll come back to you and check with you how your interviews actually went. So thank you for that preparation note. I think that will also contribute to that answer. And Kuldeep, if you could shed some light into how you prepared for CAT and the interviews?
Yeah. So in my case, it was a COVID time. Our residents of the we stayed in a township, and our township was under lockdown. So four of us were doing studying for CAT together. We decided, first of all, four of us decided, let's study CAT, because after office hours we had a good amount of time. Like we had a general shift, so maybe 7:30 was at that time. After 7:30 we were able to do our own work, whatever we want to do. So after 7:30 till 12:30, 1 o'clock, we had ample amount of time to prepare, and that's what I want to highlight. So it's not like you have to prepare the whole day. So you come after the office, have a 1 hour break, refresh yourself, and after 7:30 you have fairly 5 hours approx a day, and that is more than enough to study for CAT. So and one more key factor is four of us. So study together, make sure that you maintain a group, and all should have one goal, that we should be in one of the top IIMs. So that helped me a lot. So during the preparation time, we opted for, we did not opted for any coaching, because we did not had time owing to our business schedule, like job schedules. So we just opted for only a test series. So basic test we gave regularly, and also solved them collectively. Like we used to discuss the questions collectively. And the thing after CAT, so this was before CAT, and after CAT post, we all four of us got good IIM calls, and almost all were converted by all of us. So the thing what I wanted to mention, one of the most important thing is sit together, discuss the current affairs. It's not like reading the current affairs. Any interview will ask your thought process on current affairs. So it's not important to know the facts. It is very much important to know your views. So if you discuss, then only your view will come. One more thing what I wanted to mention is, we four of us, and along with our other friends who were in other IIMs, so we took our interviews each other. So basically, if I am the interviewee and the interviewers, so they used to grill me that much, like to their maximum extent. And the next time maybe देख लेगा उनको ऐसा करके, I was also grilling them at their max. So that made us perfect, and that made us strong. And now professor asks us any question, we are ready to face that. And that was the most important part. I would like to mention that.
Right. Really constructive way to pick on your friends there, Kuldeep. And I'm really intrigued as to how diverse the preparation schedule was for all three of you. But Kuldeep, how did your interviews actually go? You just shared with us how you prepared for them. You must have given a number of interviews. So if you could just summarize how those interviews went.
Yes, interview giving was the best experience I had after preparation for the CAT. I would mention, like, interviews were given in the office, running away from the bosses, in the conference rooms, like anywhere we gave some interviews. So yeah, on a serious note, like interviews, my interview, like I'll collate all the interview experiences into one. And basically what I experienced is, it went into three parts. So first part was basically focusing on myself, my thought processes on like my vision, my goals. As you mentioned, like as you asked us the question, like why this, why after engineering the job, why after the job you want to do per se, like what our vision to join MBA. So that was the first part of our interview. Yes, I was also asked about some of my company facts, that like what is your company producing, what are the products, like that were basic facts, but grade down than like what are the competitors, what unique things you have. So something sort of that. Then again, coming to the second part, that was my work ex. So I had a 4 years of work ex, and I was very sure that should be the major part of my interview, and that happens generally. So my roles and responsibilities, my journey through Reliance, my achievements in Reliance, apart from that, like anything in any initiatives which I have taken, anything which I have changed, which was going since long 20 years back, this was done this way and I changed something. So all that questions were asked, and you should have some concrete answers with some examples. So you cannot bluff professors or I did this and I did that, because they come to know with your backup what you are giving as the answer. So this was more of my second part. And if I come to the third part of the interview, that was basically on the current affairs which were going on that time. So during my interviews, the farm laws were the hot topic, and the Burma problems that were going on. So in farm laws, they started grilling me that big companies like yours will not let farmers to earn money, because you end up in the contract which is not at all favorable to any other companies. Why will you look at the farmers then? So this was the grilling type, and we have to defend with our thoughts and views. So basically these three were the components of my interview. And uh, and let me add on one more thing. Be make sure that you give your best, not only in whatever they ask, but you make sure that whatever is your best component of you, if they don't even ask, you show them up that I am best in this, and just give them a way to choose you. So out of thousands of students, how are you different? That is one of the most important things to mention, and you make sure that you mention that even if they don't ask.
Yeah, I think I'll not share it myself. I hope you share that one particular incident from your interview of which I'm aware. But right now, I'll just move on to Ankit. So, Ankit, how was your interview experience across all the interviews you gave while preparing for what ultimately happened to be IIM Bangalore?
Okay, so majorly, two things I'll say here is that one thing is they would want to test your knowledge, and second thing is they want to test you. So, and they only want to answer one question: can you be trusted or not? So, usually the question, like of the interviews that I had given, so one thing that I found out was it is not majorly on how much you know. It is majorly on, as Kuldeep also said, that do you have your views on them? A lot of things you might not have your views on them, but yeah, you would be expected actually to answer something which is more than facts. So that is one I could gauge on. And second thing was knowing yourself very perfectly. So most of the institutes have been asking me questions about why my motives were made the way I presented it to them, why my personality is the way that it is being projected that way in the interview, or whatever it is. So majorly the interviews went in that sense. And if I take a very specific example of an IIM Bangalore interview, it was 45-minute interview per se, and I can break that interview into three parts. First, initially they asked me about like when I introduced myself, I had like written my introduction in such a way that I put in some points in my introduction itself that they can pick on my introduction, and that is something which helped me drive my interview the way I wanted it. So initially it started with I being from Nagpur, so it started with some unique things about Nagpur. Then they grilled and drilled in some of the aspects there. Then it went into agrarian conflicts that people have in the area and regions near Nagpur. So they wanted my opinions on that. They did not want any facts on it. Why? They were a blunt question was, what do you think? What do you think? Who is responsible for the issue? Is it government? Is it people? Or is it something else? So things like this come up where you might not have an answer because you might not have thought of it. You can actually take time and answer that question, gather your thoughts, structure it, and then you can answer. Second part was majorly based on leadership. They try and create some situations where they would ask you, how would you take this decision, why this decision was the best decision in that sense. You have to justify everything that you say there. And the third part was majorly based on, it started initially just to find out how good I knew my company, but then it went into finance course. I was not very good at it, but yeah, I was just able to explain some of the points that I said. I mentioned a point that they asked me, how is your company doing? I said my company is doing well. They said, how can you say that? I said company has been growing 14% year on year. So they picked up that 14%. And then that 14% was grilled for around 15 minutes. So things like this can happen all throughout your interview, and that is not very specific to what happened at IIM Bangalore. It can happen anywhere. So be thorough and be what I can say is be careful about what you say, because that can be grilled to any point. I
Right,
think that's it.
right. Great insights for anyone who's trying to figure out how they can drive their interview, and also on the wit as to how an engineer answered finance questions in their interview. Anyways, over to Shringya. Shringya, you converted all the interviews you gave, right? So how was your interview experience?
So Anant, my interview experience was fairly amazing. If I talk about my profile, I was academically sound. So be it 10th, 12th or graduation, and on top of it, 2 years of work experience, that too in testing locations and testing domain. So that gave me an edge basically, and also at the same time, I maintained composure if I was cold to pressure. All the interviews were very diverse and tested wide spectrum of my personality. Um, if I remember, I was tested on my role in organization, my contribution to the organization and society, uh, my knowledge of the world around, current affairs, my IQ and EQ. Basically, they wanted to see if I'm a right fit for their own B school, any B school where I was going to, like, for which I was appearing for an interview. If I summarize my experience of IIM Bangalore, they tested if I can be a future CEO, if I'll be able to manage a company or not, if I'll be able to give back to the society or not, or to the alma mater or not. So these were the basic things which they tested. Uh, if I give my experience, like after interviews, I used to have strong headache. Basically, because I used to feel my entire every segment of my brain was into action when I was giving interview. So, and it becomes very difficult if you are not able to answer one question. That basically drives up the pressure. So, in continuation, you have to maintain that composure, that in case if you're not able to question once or twice, you'll be able to figure out the next questions. I remember I was questioned, I was debated if I am religious or not, even that sort. I was tested on my technical knowledge and technical skills to the fullest. If I know what's happening around the world in technicals, or be it cultural, be it technical, or what not, everything was being tested. So that was overall my interview experience in all the B schools. The whatever factors I had mentioned, one or the another B school had tested me in all of it.
Right. And Shringya, one thing also, if you can walk me through that, I'm curious as to whether this was an easy decision for you, or if again it involved activation of all your brain cells. Like you converted all the schools you interviewed for. How did you make the decision that IIM Bangalore is the place to be for you?
So yes, I converted all the schools I got calls from, but finally I had chosen IIM Bangalore. IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta, FMS were my best calls apart from all other IIMs and IITs. Factors which I thought were opportunity cost and return of investment. After weighing and deliberation, I decided to go with IIM Bangalore. So basically, that factor of branding was was a factor which I placed more weight to. And after strong deliberation and talking to colleagues and all, this was not a very tough decision for me, choosing IIM Bangalore out of all other calls, because I think that it was my best call.
Right. Certainly, we are personally, all three of us, really happy that you chose IIM Bangalore as the place you should pursue management education from. But over to Kuldeep. Kuldeep, how did you come to the decision that IIM Bangalore is the B school you want to be in?
First of all, this is my best call. Only call among ABC. So that was not a big deal for me to choose. Second thing, I was lucky enough to get Bangalore as the best call. I'll back up with some points. What I gained, like after a basic research from my friends or from the professors of other IIMs, what I am in contact with. So what they told is Bangalore is the school which supports, like which have the higher average of the WorkX people among the top 3 IIMs, what we generally talk about. So I feel that being a 4-year WorkX guy, I tried, like anybody will try to be in the median side, not on the higher side or not on the lower side, so that has the maximum cream. So if the average is higher, I may be a good fit for this IIM, and that was one of the reason I was happy to get IIM Bangalore as the best call, and I tried my best to convert it so that I be a good fit here.
Right. Thanks, Kuldeep. And Ankit, how did you come to the decision?
For me, I don't think so. It was a very difficult decision. One thing was that this was one of my best. This was the best one. So, like other IIMs, others from top three did not feel that I was good enough for them. So it was only Bangalore who gave me a call. And the other thing was that I had mentioned initially I did not want to leave tech while I like even started my journey into this field. So and IIM Bangalore being in the Silicon Valley of India, and one more thing that helped me make this concrete decision was that the number of people getting into product management roles is the maximum with IIM Bangalore. So yeah, that made me take that concrete decision that yeah, you have to go to IIM Bangalore. That is, I think that's it. That helped me during my preparation of interviews as well. So the thing that came up was this was the best call that I have, and with the other things that I mentioned, this is something that you need to convert.
Right.
That's it, I guess.
Right. And Ankit, now this is a question for all of you, and I'm very sure that the viewers are really interested in. You guys have made a sort of a switch from the technical side that you're coming from. You're focusing towards the managerial side at this point in time. How did you find this switch? As engineers, there's a large proportion of engineers in most Indian B schools. So did you find it rather easy to gel in, or did you find that it was slightly harder for you guys to distinguish yourself from your fellow batchmates or other applicants? If you can shed some light on that, Ankit.
So see, initially getting in is a problem because general engineering male usually do not get shortlisted or do not get that extra point that others get. So that is one thing wherein we lack. But once we are in, we are the majority. So then as things goes anywhere, majority usually dominate. So in that sense, it becomes easy once you are in, but to get in it is a bit difficult one. And second, for me, to make a distinct identity here was not a big problem. One thing was that I was good in tech, and people have like bugged me for almost everything. They have a problem with tech. So people have bugged me with internet nahi chal raha hai, come here. So people have bugged me for that as well. So I was able to create a good identity with two skills. One is being good at tech, and second, I knew some video editing. So yeah, that was it.
And was there any sort of challenge in terms of academics that you faced, right?
So in terms of academics, if I say, we engineers usually are not very good with finance courses, but we have friends like Anant Gupta, so who help us, and some quant knowledge, and people like Anant Gupta help us. We get decent enough grades. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you there, Ankit. And I think we are even now with all the help on the tech side that you do. Yeah, but over to you, Shringya.
Okay. So basically, I had never thought regarding this, like engineers, being an engineer is holding a disadvantage. Yes, there are courses and subjects which my peers have already studied in their undergrad, and but I believe that it's fine. Engineers are good with quantitative subjects. I believe that they can fare well with any subjects they're exposed to. So that was my basic mindset since the starting. Yes, I agree that it's really difficult when you give CAT because you know that where your percentile should be to get a call from IIM college like IIM Bangalore. But yes, I never gave a thought to that direction. because I never wanted to extend my time towards that. So yes, I just believe that this is where this is the range where I want my percentile to be, and that is how I'll be in a college like IIM Bangalore. So that's where I paid all my attention to and energies to.
Right. Thanks, Darshing. Yeah. Kuldeep, how was this journey for you? And I would also like you to highlight if there were anything specific you faced given the gap after which you were pursuing education.
Sure. First of all, I like to mention like most of our viewers will be engineers, and I don't think so. Like we need to tell engineers how to crack exams the last moment. So this is they are mastered in now, and I don't need to tell anything about that. So first thing, what I faced difficulty, if you say in terms of the subject, as rightly mentioned by Ankit. So finance was something new. So it was something new. Just it was new for us. So it don't became like it was hard for us. So thanks to you as well as the like the basics what we had in finance is something which can be understood. It's not like कि अगर basics finance का नहीं है तो आपको कुछ नहीं पता चलेगा. It's not like that. So you get to know if you just pay some few attentions. So that is one thing. Academic side, I don't think so that there is some missing out of like, and we engineers are capable to grasp anything. Anything you saw, we'll eat it. So no worries in that. Second thing, to distinguish myself here, so I'll like to mention myself as a guy which is like a outspoken person. So I have a very wide group here, and actually that gave me a good identity of being a person who people know, and that helped me in various assignments, various interviews which I have to take, various academic help which I need to take, and so that is something which helped me, my personal plus point. And like uh, the gap, if you say that I had a gap after academics, yes, you are correct that after leaving education behind 4 years back and into 4 years, it was something a bit difficult initially to grasp on something like reading hours. Like I'm not fond of reading books. So to read a 500 pages books in 3 months of a term and completing all the subjects around, the 6 subjects around, so that was a bit initially difficult task. But after a half of a term of the term one, like I was used to it. But yes, it was something a bit challenging to me to come up after a gap.
Right. Thanks there, Kuldeep. And is there any advice you would have for engineers who are considering the MBA route?
So yes, as an engineer, my first advice is if you are right now in the engineering college, make sure you have good amount of positions of responsibilities, good amount of work apart from academics, whatever you can gain, whatever is your interest, make sure that you have something. Because coming here, like there are thousands and lakhs of people applying for MBAs or anywhere you go. So if you don't if you don't differentiate yourself from the crowd, so nobody is going to select you. Why should they choose you? You have to say something that I did this, I have this experience, or I have this position of responsibility which I handled very well. So this is the reason I propose myself to you to take that. So this is one of the basic advice. And in WalkX, so don't make your WalkX a 8-hour journey with 2 punches and 1 lunches. So punch in, punch out, and 1 lunch will not help you come here. So it's in between what you are doing, what all new things you are doing, what all initiatives you are doing, and that will help you gain added advantage. I'm not telling you to work madly or work smartly. Whatever you work should define your capabilities, or whatever you work should be something that unique that your colleague has not done yet. So that is bit of advice from my side.
Thank you for that, Kuldeep. I could not agree with you more, and I am certain that I will be using that phrase, 2 punches and 1 lunches, very soon. I'm sorry, Ankit. What would be your advice?
So yes, as Kuldeep also mentioned, try to work on things that you like the most. So you need to actually have some differentiation from the people who are here, because most of the people are very good with academics, most of the people are good with communication skills, most of the people here have been toppers all throughout their life. So if you want to stand out while coming in, or even after you come in here, you need to work on your skills that differentiate you from someone else. This first. And second thing that I would like to tell is a very general advice from my side, is that if you're preparing for your interview, or if you're preparing for anything to come to any B school, be thorough with yourself rather than having knowledge of everything. Be thorough with yourself, because at some point of time it is just the test as to who you are, and would you be able to justify the legacy that colleges like this have left all throughout. So if you are able to justify that, and that is the only thing that interviewers usually are looking for. So be very honest while you are answering the questions, because the people taking in your interviews would be people who have 20, 25 years of experience doing the same thing. So be very honest. And one more thing is that from my personal experience is that even if you don't have a great percentile, I did not have one. And that was the reason I gave almost all 24, I guess, gave around 24 interviews last year. So the only thing which I felt was that even if you don't have great percentile, be very true as to what you are saying, and don't worry. If you are able to crack the interview the best, people who have much better percentiles come in second or third list, you come in a first list. So even like, don't be demotivated with if you have a lesser percentile. Work very hard on your interviews, be very honest, give your answers and your views very very correctly and in a very structured manner. You'll get through.
Right. Thanks there for the motivation and insights, Ankit. Shreya, what would be your advice for engineers who are looking towards an MBA in the future?
So Anant, I think that Kuldeep and Ankit have fairly like touched upon all the points. I totally agree with both of them. And I could give one advice that after completing engineering, I think engineers should have work experience of at least 2 to 3 years. That gives them an exposure to how things work in corporate setup. It becomes easier to relate the teachings here. It's not like being a fresher pose any disadvantage because they bring fresh perspective to the table. But yes, I also felt that having a work experience is advantageous. At the same time, I believe that Kuldeep, what he mentioned, that just don't stick to the regular workings. Try something new at your workplace so that you have something to show, so that you can prove your mettle. You can prove that how different you are from the peers who are also going to give the interviews. So having a diverse set of work experience or something significant which you had achieved in your is very important, because that's what IIM Bangalore or any B schools interviewers are looking for. So that's all I can advise right now.
And Shreya, uh, one last question to wrap it up probably is is there anything that you wish you knew before you started your MBA?
Okay. So here I can say that it's good to explore. Build your CV beforehand. Try to do some preliminary courses. Or the best thing is to do right now is what my dad always says: keep your mind open. It should be as open as an open parachute. So identifying the strengths, weakness, and target areas for 2 years is very important, and be well prepared with that. And to be honest, enjoying is something which I believe that I should have done just before joining B school, because the 2 years are going to be really high hectic, and I should have had this thought in my mind. I just uh, had my last day just a few days before joining IIM Bangalore. So this would be one advice, that try to explore as much as possible before joining here, because 2 years are really going to be very hectic, very hectic.
Like, thanks there, Shingya, and I can certainly vouch for what you have to say. I took some time off from work right before joining and Bangalore, and I certainly enjoyed thoroughly in that time. And Ankit, what do you have to say? What were the two things you wish you knew, or don't restrict yourself to two, anything that you wish you had known before you started your MBA?
So I don't think that I regret not knowing anything before I joined an MBA. The only thing that I can say to people, there are reasons people might not be able to leave their jobs, like Anant did, and played long nights of Catan with us and a lot of games with us. But yeah, people might not be able to do that. But yeah, if you are able to do that, explore a lot of stuff and try to uh, try to be fresh when you enter here, because yes, as Shanya mentioned, I'll also reiterate that it's very hectic once you get in here. Apart from that, I don't think so there's anything that you need to do that is very different from anyone else. Just be open to anything and everything that comes your way. That's it.
Right. And kudos to people who manage those long Catan nights along with their jobs. But yeah, Kuldeep, if you could wrap this up for us.
Yeah, certainly. I agree to both Ankit and Shringya that you don't need anything to be spatial here. So there are no prerequisites as such. You need to know this course. You need to know this. Like it's okay. Like if you come here fresh, but one thing you just be aware that if you are planning to do MBA and you know this well before, make sure that you don't cross at least 2.5 or 3 years of work ex. So that is what I personally feel, that if I would have taken the decision like just few years back. So the 2 years or 3 years of work ex is the most optimum like work ex I would rather advise. So if you go beyond, there is nothing losing in that. But this is the like normal distribution. So max opportunities come in between. There are less that side, less this side. So this is what you stay like make yourself fit in the center part. And apart from that, I don't think so anything prerequisites are required. Yes, as both of them mentioned, get yourself refreshed a lot. It's not like it's too much hectic. We also enjoy here a lot. We also have like nights of Catans here also, and nights of mafias also sometimes. So but yes, you get refresh yourself a bit, because it will be not the same schedule what you had been since your workex or your BTech time. It's entirely, yeah, one point to mention, it's not your BTech now. It's totally opposite to what you felt or what you did in your BTech. So make sure that it's not a college of your undergrads. Yeah.
Right. Thanks there, Kuldeep. And I am very confident that the insight you gave in terms of the work experience, the normal curve, that is something that people would be really pleased to know before starting their masters. And guys, to all of you, a big, big thank you. If there is anything you feel we must cover here that we could have covered, now is the time. Please chip in with anything that you feel like sharing. Otherwise, I would once again say really a big thank you. There is a big bunch of engineers out there who have covered some experience after their BTech or bachelor's in engineering, and who are thinking about an MBA. They would certainly benefit from your insights. And to all the engineers, this is our attempt to give you some insights for people who have experience in the range of 2 to 4 years in their respective domains and have since chosen to pursue an MBA. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks a lot, Anand.